Well, I tell you what, guys, regardless of what we find today, it's an absolutely beautiful morning. As you can see, birds are singing. I would say it's right around 70 degrees right now. Let's go check this out, Doze. See what's down here. Right around 70 degrees, low humidity. That sun's got some punch to it today, so it's going to warm up. I don't know if this area that I'm in has had rain. I do know that the area has had some rain yesterday and a little bit the day before. So I wanted to get out here this morning and check it out and just see, see what the rain's brought. The evenings are cool, they're down in the 60s, but the days are hot in the 80s, so it seems like fair weather if you're a mushroom. No gators up and about yet. That's good. No swimming today though, Doze, huh? Not seeing a lot so far this morning. This isn't really a power forage. As many of you know, this time of year, we're in late December, or I'm sorry, middle December, and we don't have a lot of rain this time of year. Mushroom hunting's a little more sparse than it is during the rainy season. But they are still around. And so part of what I'm doing is obviously just getting out of the house and enjoying this beautiful weather and beautiful trails. Also learning what's around this time of year. That's part of the fun of doing this, is kind of exploring the changes throughout the year and seeing what mushrooms prefer what time of year. Look at all that pennywort all along here. It loves where the trail has been tore up like that, and it's nice and wet in here, so, or damp, I guess. There's a little Caesar weed in blossom. Turn around there. Of course, that Caesar weed is edible, although the leaves are way too tough for that. The flowers are edible. There's another one. The flowers are edible. They make a nice decoration. Add into a salad or maybe dessert. They don't have a real distinct flavor. They're mildly sweet at best, but they are pretty. A lot of Biden's elba back here. Pennywort. And not a lot of mushrooms so far, but there's some beautyberry. Oh, those are beautiful. Let me get there we go. Let's light them up a little bit. Look at those berries. That's a pretty batch. I'm grabbing a handful of that for a little snack as I walk. Heck yeah. Come on. There we go. Very nice. Not a real strong flavor. Like any wild food, you're either going to like it or you're not. Those, of course, best used for jams and wines, but I'm often guilty of grabbing a handful of those for a little trailside nibble. We've already seen this stretch, so I'm going to head back to the main trail, get back on it, and I'll bring you back. Find me some mushrooms, buddy. Find me some mushrooms. Be quiet in here. So guys, we moved over. We're over by a little primitive campsite. I just want to check it out because there's some leaf litter over here. Kind of pine and leaf mix, some wood chips, and sometimes you'll find them. Here we go. Every now and again you'll find mushrooms in here. Look at these. lot in here. There's that group. Oh, here we go. A whole bunch over here. They're all along here. Let's take a look at one of these. Let's pull this bigger one. Sorry about the blurry there. There we go. So the gills go right up to the stem, small narrow stem. It's kind of the gills are kind of pinkish in color. And a brown, a golden colored cap. Spaced gills. Lacaria. I would say Lacaria lacata. So if I'm right, I'm going to have to do a little more research on these, make sure I'm right. But if I'm right, they are an edible. Not a real distinct edible, no real distinct flavor. But if it is Lacaria lacata, then I believe them to be edible. So I'm going to take a few of these with me, and I'll do a little more research once I get home. But pretty little mushroom. And they're all along in here. I'll have to go back in there and check that out a little bit. I'm going to grab a couple of these mushrooms first. So I gathered a few of those, then I was just checking the camp a little more. And they are all over in here. There's some old ones. There's a bunch of smaller ones. They look older. Some of them have already spored out. They're all up, just a ton of them underneath that picnic table. So if it is Lacaria lacata, which I believe it to be, again, more research needed, then the stems are tough, which they are. You can feel it when you pick them. The stems are tough and of no use, but the caps are edible. So again, I'm going to take a few of them home and do a little research at the house and see if I've got enough for maybe a little dinner tonight. All right, I'm going to get my gear. You can see this is that little camp. Somebody put some wood in here, so that's kind of nice. Picnic tables. And there's my collection. Now the other nice thing about these is, as you saw, they are everywhere. So I just picked a couple from each little batch, and I mean I left tons of them in each spot. So I've got enough for a small supper, if that's what it is, and I barely even touch the number of mushrooms that are out here. So they will be very healthy and be here next time. All right, I'm gonna grab my gear and head back to the trail. Well, I pulled off the main trail here, guys, and just exploring a little opening. And I'm not gonna collect any of this, but I just wanted to show you this. Man, if you were a medicinal plant hunter and you wanted to find yourself some Gouda Cola, this is all Gouda Cola. No, stop. Don't eat the grass. But Daddy, you do. All Gouda Cola in here. I mean, you could have a field day in here if you wanted. I may return at some point. That's not today's mission. But now that I know that it's here in abundance, I might come back and take some. My dehydrator could dry it up. And quite a while back, we did a video where I stopped and had a little bit of a noon lunch in the woods with some foraged greens. This is the hill we were on. Hey, what's this guy coming up? Well, he's a big one. Look at that. A little older. Oh yeah, pretty old. Yeah, very old. Not sure what that is. It's an old one. Already spored out. This is the hill that we did the little lunch break on. Nothing up here today except for that one old mushroom. So, back to the trail we go. I was like checking out these little openings because they let a little sun in, and you just never know what you're going to find. And you want to check them different times of the season too, because you know what's there in December might not be there in June. Might be something else. So you guys want to stop and take a peek. Well, for all my friends up in the cold climates, hope you can live a little vicariously through Dozer and I and enjoy some of this beautiful weather. Don't get me wrong, I certainly miss some of my ice fishing and things, but can't lie that watching the news this morning and hearing about the thunderstorms and coming blizzard in northern Minnesota, that I was a bit thankful for the fact that I would go out this morning and try to get my hike in before the temperatures got too hot. This time of year they're not brutal hot, you know, I mean it's mid 80s, but for a northern guy like me that's still pretty warm. So I hope you like following along with me as we explore the woods. And some of these trails, some of you will recognize from our hikes. You know, we Dozer and I tend to have a few favorites that we hike, but they don't get dull, at least not for us. You know, we're not out here specifically for the mushrooms. The mushrooms are a bonus for us. Well, I don't think Dozer cares too much about the mushrooms, but a bonus for me, I guess. You know, really what it's about is just getting some time outdoors and taking a deep breath. It's also about learning about new plants, and new mushrooms. Oftentimes when we're out here we see wild animals. Of course we always see a lot of birds in Florida. And that's more what it's about. Just really getting out and enjoying nature. Let's go check out these pine trees. So I know some of you watch these regularly, so and your comments suggest you like that as well, so I appreciate you tagging along. Hopefully we keep making videos that you enjoy. This area is really good during the rainy season for a mushroom that's of little use. I do actually find some edible boletes in here occasionally, but what I really find a lot of in this area is the bitter boletes. I don't really see them this time of year. So, nothing in here right now. So, the bitter boletes seem to come up at the end of the rainy season, after the other boletes have kind of backed off. They kind of have their little couple week season at the end of that. And that's usually the last I see of them for the year. That's one thing I have learned here in Florida, is that most of these mushrooms will come up throughout the year. However, they all seem to have a really significant season, 2, 3 week, 4 week season where they really come out strong. For example, there's a few weeks you'll find the bluets, a few weeks you'll find certain edible boletes, the blue staining boletes. And again, not that you won't find them at other times, but they just seem to be a lot more abundant during that season. So it's just kind of interesting. I find that interesting because, of course, coming from the north, obviously everything has a very distinct season. And your growing season is very short. Your hunting season is very short. And I was wondering here if, because of the year-round warmth, if they would be more abundant more frequently, but they seem to stick to that seasonal cycle for the most part. Those are stay. Good boy, Doze. All right, he can go. Those are a couple big old boys. Guess it's always feeding time. Spread out down in the weeds there. Lacarius. Lacarius lacata. These are older. When they're young, they have a real waxy feel to them. Small stem. The gills are kind of spread. No milk. Brown to golden cap. It'll get lighter when they're younger, and they can vary. It can be even a tan color. These are an edible mushroom. They're not a great edible. I mean, they're just kind of an edible. So you can eat them. They're not one that's sought after much. Very small, but they are everywhere out here today. So Lacarius lacata. All right, guys, I'm going to see if you guys can see the fish. They're thick in here. Those are Florida gar. They are just thick in that little pond. Actually a pretty decent eating fish, except for the fact that you got to get through their armor plating, which is just about impossible. Couple little fellers coming up. What do we got here? Oh, slippery. And that's what they're going to be, too. Recognize that from the last video. Slippery jack. That is an edible mushroom. Well, the only one that I found here. We'll hold on to them just in case. We got some other mushrooms that we'll just kind of add them to the pot. And who knows? Maybe we'll find a few more. Really? Come here. Come here. Stay over here. Yeah, nobody wants you to shake on them.
Yeah. You can shake them later.
That walking stick is coming in handy.
Yes, it is. I don't know why she leaves hers in the car.
What do you think, bud?
Borrow the stick?
Ah, we'll go right through. Ooh, that's cold. Ooh, that's cold, bud. I bet I forgot my towel. Come here. All right, let's go explore this one. All right, guys. So this, I have talked about several times. This is the Caracara Prairie Preserve. This is on the back side of the preserve that we normally hike, and usually it's underwater. And by the time I get here, it you know, I've already hiked so much, or I've had so much time in the woods that it just doesn't work out for me to do it. I haven't ever been in this, so we're going to explore it a little bit today. I know this one is seasonally wet, but we're going to check it out, see what it's like. All right, Caracara Prairie Preserve. Should be interesting. Look at all the spider webs. Everybody's out getting their breakfast. Luckily they leave the trail alone, so they like that higher grass. This should be interesting. Again, I've never been in here. By the time I get back here, a lot of times I have 3-4 miles on my feet. This is about 2.7 miles. And by that time, you know, I run out of time or energy, and it's always underwater, the entrance is. And I know the trails are seasonally underwater. So that a lot of times discourages me after all those miles anyway. But I really wanted to get back here and check it out. So I'm a little off trail right now, just exploring this little clear area, seeing if there's any mushrooms around. Which I am not seeing. So we'll get back to the main trail. Definitely lives up to his name. Prairie Preserve. Based on the fence you go through to get in here, I would say this is more actively used for cattle management. So again, on these preserves, there is an active cattle ranch associated with them. And in the first one that we were in, the Cypress Domes, that's how we got here, was hiking probably a mile and a half or so through the Cypress Domes. And then that one is not used as frequently for the cattle, although hiking today there were tracks in the trail, and last time I was out here there was some fairly fresh cow manure. So it is definitely used. They let the cattle graze in there. This one certainly looks like it's more active. I've never been out here when there were cows around. So, but here, yeah, there's definitely cow patties along this trail here. So you kind of want to watch your step. Looks like a lot of dog fennel along here. Not of any use to us, but there it is. Okay, so it looks like this is going to wind back in the woods. Good. I was hoping this didn't just skirt the pasture land the whole time. I don't mind that a little bit, but I don't necessarily. When I come out here, I'm looking to get out into the woods. So, Doze, come here. Come here. I think he just chased a rabbit up. Oh, squirrel, that's what it was. He just jumped over my head, scared the crap out of me. Always an adventure. Supposed to be finding mushrooms, not squirrels. What was that? What was that? Bird or a squirrel? Oh man, looks like our mowing guy quit on us. Dang it. That was kind of nice. The grass is really wet, I think from a heavy dew, so. Yeah, there's a water trough for cattle. So this is definitely active. Well, yeah, that is pretty fresh. Oh, there's sandhill cranes. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see them. They're pretty far off in the distance. Heading right towards us. Couple of big ones. Interesting bird. Alright, back on the trail again. Kind of interesting how the cows seem to like the the trail as well. Yeah, you definitely have to watch your step out here. Especially as right here it kind of goes from one pasture to the next from the water trough. Oh, the sandhills just realized I was here. I don't know if you can hear that. They are. They're giving me what for. This is a cool path though. It's a kind of a palm tree lined trail in between the two fields, which is kind of neat. So it's super shaded compared to the field, obviously, which is a little sun-baked. So this is nice. Like I said, once we got away, there's still a little bit of cow patties around, but you can see where they're crossing in here, so they're coming through at different points. But overall, the trail's pretty clean. So just that main connecting area is where I saw most of it. So not a problem. Of course, I don't have Dozer's leash today, so I'm hoping we don't encounter the cows because he, as you saw in previous videos, he has discovered that he really likes cows. They're fun to play with. Of course, I worry that sometime one of those big cows will decide he's not as fun. So this is set up to wind kind of in between the different pastures. This is really neat. I'd hope for some good mushrooms in here. It looks like a good area, but so far nothing. You can still hear, I don't know if you guys can hear, it's getting a little quieter, but those sand hills are still just a squawking in the background. Here's another connecting point in between the two prairies, Doze. Oh, I see the trail splits here. So this is a marshy area. Trail may be wet beyond this sign. Here's our map. I'll give you a little bit. 2.6 miles, I guess. So that marsh must be just a little shortcut over to the other side. Oh no, we are here. I'm not sure what that is. Well, we'll stick to this side that does not say that it's wet. And there's more treat anyway, I like that. Look at the trees, guys. Great. Overhanging, completely shaded. Sandhill cranes, other birds. The squirrels messing with me. Great day to be in the woods. What do we got here? Ah, you guys know I love to stop and admire the butterflies. They have a Butterflies of Collier County sign. That's pretty cool. I love it. Man, I'll tell you what, if you walk in the woods and walk by butterflies and don't stop and admire them, you need to reevaluate what you're doing in life. Or if you walk through the woods and say, man, I don't ever see butterflies. Again, serious reevaluation is necessary because, again, we get out here to really enjoy the woods. Those are just some kind of a shelf mushroom. They're pretty dry. I'm just going to check out this little clear area here before we head on down the trail. It's pretty wet in here, so I'm not expecting much, but a lot of pennywort, a lot of guticola, always present Caesar weed, but I don't see anything for mushrooms, so we're going to get back on trail. Today is my day off, so normally I have all day just to fart around, but I do actually have things to do today, so we've got a full morning and a lunchtime, but then I'll have to get back to some in-town reality, so. But a good way to spend the morning. Doe, stay here. He's watching. There's also cows in there. Come here, bud. You stay here by me. Hello, ladies. Don't stay here. Watching me now. What does this guy want in his little dog? Come here, bud. Doze, come here. Sit. Stay. Good morning, ladies. You're going to come check us out, aren't you? Not sure what to think of us. Good morning, ladies. Don't worry, he won't bug you. Got their ears all perked up. Alright, Doze, we should leave these ladies alone. Get back on our hike. Come on, bud. There's the cows. Come here, bud. Stay here. Those I worry about with him. There's the deer running by the cows. Everybody's out checking things out today. I don't worry about Dozer with the cows because you can see with the deer there, he just sits by me like I tell him to. He's well behaved. Now, if I told him to go get him, he'd be off like a rocket. But the cows are actually incredibly curious, and so they like the dog. You know, we saw in that other video that cow was trying to play with him, and that, although cute, could go sour in a heartbeat. So I don't want that to happen. I did not bring his leash today because we came out in the morning. This time of year we don't see many people on the trail, if any. There was an older couple hiking this morning, but you know, we saw them when we crossed the water. But that's it. That's the only people I've seen out here. So, you know, he doesn't bother anybody anyway. He stays pretty tight to me. But if those cows decide they want to play with him, not exactly sure how I would stop it. I might have some rope or something in the backpack that I could use. Not sure. Well, we'll keep on trekking here, and we'll just be optimistic that we're not going to have any issues this morning. Oh, there's a whole bunch of deer. Wow, there's... I don't know if you guys could see that. Let me see if I can get another picture of them. Oh yeah, there they go. They're still coming. Those ones are a little more spooky. You only see 2 there, but there's probably 6 in the group. So there's a lot of deer back in here. Let's see where we are. I think we're on a shortcut right here. You are here. So we've actually got the longest portion of the loop remaining. So this will shortcut across, and then we get on out of here. But we're going to keep going on the trail. Hope for the best. There's the bigger group there now. Don't stay here. So there's 2. There's another 2. There's 2 more coming. So there's, oh, here comes another one. Oh, there's the buck. So he's got himself a bunch of girlfriends. Where'd he go? Where'd you guys go? There they are. So the buck is coming up right there. Don't stay here. So he's got himself quite a few girlfriends. Got his flag up. We'll leave them alone. He's going to make plenty more deer. Here, bud. Come here, bud. Say bye, Dad. We're not going to bother them ladies today. Nope, nope, you stay here. They want to go this way, but... Come here. You leave them alone. There you go. He's going to lead them out of there. Oh, there's 2 bucks. There's also a little forkhorn. Looked like about a 4-pointer and then a little forkhorn. Well, they'll be battling for those ladies later in the year. Man, that's beautiful back in here. So one part of that trail, I mentioned the mower had stopped, so I'm thinking that was an active hay area. That's why they didn't mow that. So they're mowing the trails, but they're not mowing any area that's connected to the field. Hold up, bud. These look pretty old. More shelf mushrooms, but they're pretty old. So apparently it is Laccaria season, although those are a bit old. They're spread out throughout the grass here. Nice wooded area with some leaf litter, every tree cover, but I'm not finding really anything of any significance other than the Laccaria, which really surprises me. Again, I'm still learning this Florida seasons, but the temperatures are good. Moisture level is pretty good with recent rains, but that's really all that I'm finding. Heck, in here there was a fire at one point. You can see some of the trees are a little charred, but not finding anything other than the smaller Laccaria. You know, the shelf mushrooms are old, so that's all right though. We're gonna keep on trekking and see what we find. You just never know. It's about the exploring. That's really what it's about. Plus, we're on a brand new trail. So, oh, there's something. What is that? little rosy rusula. This guy here. Now that's not a rusula. You can tell by how that stem just kind of peels apart. Let's get this guy. I think he's a rusula. Now I'll show you one way to kind of narrow it down to a rusula. Take your stem. Oh, that is not a rusula. It did not. They should just snap. So not sure what that is. I'm not, as those of you who follow me know, the gilt mushrooms is one I have not delved deeply into. I'm starting to learn a few of them now. But in the northern climates where I was, there were so many mushrooms, like, you know, so many different boletes and chicken of the woods and hen of the woods and oyster mushrooms, that I didn't really have to delve too deeply into the other species. Now here, I'm discovering that that is going to be something I'm going to want to spend some time learning, because they're a little more predominant at different times of the year here. So definitely something I'm going to be learning, doing a little more research into. So I guess we can learn together. As I mentioned earlier, that you can see that there's been a fire in here. You can really see it now in this area that we're in. All the trees are a little scarred up. Okay, so we've made the second shortcut. So that'll cut across. So there's a couple shortcuts in here if a person doesn't want to do the whole 2.7 or 2.6 miles. So I do like that. The other preserve, Cypress Dome, does that as well. So it really gives you some options if you're not, you know, if you just want to do a shorter walk, or, you know, if you want to do a loop, because of course you can always walk in and walk out, but if you want to do some kind of a loop, a lot of these preserves give you that option through little shortcuts. But we're going to keep going on the outer loop. So it wouldn't have been long ago that we wouldn't have been able to get through here. I would say maybe even just a week ago this trail would have been underwater, but so far we've been able to keep our feet dry, with the exception of the entrance to the preserve and the heavy dew that's on the ground. That's all right. You know, when we're not out here camping, it doesn't, getting your feet a little damp doesn't matter. We're going to be out here for 2 days, and I'm a little more concerned with that. But for today, not concerned at all. What the heck is that? You guys see that? Look for something just a little different colored. That's a geocache. Somebody's got a sense of humor. Let's open that bad boy up. That's funny. I tell you, if you did pick that up and didn't notice that, that scared the crap out of you. It's an older geocache. I don't have anything to leave today. So the rule of thumb is take something, leave something. But I don't have anything really to leave today, so we're just going to leave that. And I was not geocaching. Oops, sorry guys, I spun you around there. So I'm going to hide that spider down there just a little. So if anybody hasn't geocached, it's a cool little activity. It's another way to get out here in the woods if you're not comfortable with the foraging, or if you want to add something to your hiking. So geocaching, there's an app, actually there's a couple apps that you can download, and there are geocaches all over the world. And you'll find them in mall parking lots, you'll find them in office buildings, you'll find them in the middle of nowhere, the top of mountains. You'll just be stunned at where you'll find these geocaches. And some of them will just have a log, you just log that you were there, that you found it. Some of them have items in it, like that did. And again, the rule of thumb on that is take something, leave something. So geocachers, or when I have geocached in the past, I always carried something, maybe a little coin or art or a shell, you know, from the beach. I mean, it can be anything. There's no real rules to what it is. It's just, you know, you don't want to take something and not leave something in return. So it's a really cool sport. And when I got into foraging, it was to add something to my time in the woods. So add another layer to the time we were already spending in the woods. So originally it started out with chicken of the woods, then it went to oysters, then it moved to, whoa, big spider web. We'll leave him alone so he can get his breakfast. And it just added this dimension to my hikes in the woods that we didn't have before. And then the wild plants came in and we added that. So pretty soon as we walk, you know, depending on the season and where we're at, there are different plants and mushrooms that we can find and identify, learn about, both medicinally and edibly. And then geocaching adds another layer to that. And so again, you add that to your phone, or maybe you want to get kids into the outdoors. And what do kids love these days? They love their phones and they love apps. There goes another deer running across that field. No, stay here. And, you know, so while you're looking for mushrooms and wild edible plants, their task can be to find the geocaches. And they will really enjoy finding those little treasures in the middle of nowhere. It's a great activity for them. Beautiful, beautiful artist conchs. So they will really enjoy finding these little treasures out in the middle of the woods. And at the same time, you're getting them out there, they're enjoying nature, because they're not always going to, it's not something that you are always going to be on your phone. Oh, there goes two of them. Young buck and a doe. So I really encourage you to get out into the woods. That's what these videos are about. They are not about surviving the apocalypse. They're not about, you know, bushcrafting, although we do some bushcrafting stuff occasionally, and we do some survival stuff. It's not about stealth camping in a parking lot at Walmart in the back of your car. I don't want to do that. I'm getting away from Walmart when I come out here. This channel is really about getting out into the woods, learning not to fear it, learning to really enjoy it, and you'll find that it really grounds you and gives you some peace and joy that I just don't ever find in the city. Don't get me wrong, going through a city garden is wonderful, and maybe going going to Disney World is great, or going to the beach is fun, going fishing is wonderful. There's a lot of things we can do, but this is another element, and I find this to be much more calming than a lot of the other activities, because oftentimes it's just you, family and friends, you and your dog. It's very quiet, some of the birds and the deer, and you just find yourself really taking a deep breath. So again, the moral of my story here is find deeper ways to engage when you're out here. You know, study plants. Take a picture of one plant, bring it home, try to figure out what it is. Take a picture of one mushroom, take it home, try to figure out what it is. Take a few mushrooms home. Picking them isn't going to hurt the mushroom. That's the fruit. That's like picking an apple off a tree. Not going to hurt the tree. So pick them, bring them home, take up geocaching, find ways to get out in the woods, and then stop and enjoy the butterflies, and stop and take 5 on a bench. And when you do, put your phone away and just listen. Yeah, it's silent, but there's a great peace to that silence. On we go. But man, I wouldn't want to go face first into that. Now, builder of that is just a little green feller. A couple of them in there on different webs, but that is a that would be a scary face plant, I'm telling you. Glad they stay off the trails. What's that? Well, that's more Lacarian. Oh yeah. That one over there. That's about it for this area. Oh, here we go. And I'll tell you what, that's the mushroom of the day. I found a couple smaller guild mushrooms, but really, the only mushroom of abundance has been the Lacaria. And I still have to get a, confirmed ID on that Lacaria. But, because there's, multiple in that family. All right, so we are here. There's a gate coming up, but it looks like our trail hooks that way. That's where we'll go. There's a cattle gate there. The only cows we've seen were the two earlier, and they started heading our way, but did not. I'm glad. So I think we'll make it through here without any close calls with the local residents, which is always a plus. I like to check out these little clear areas because you never know what you're going to find in it, in this leaf litter. But here again, our mushroom of the day, and these are some beautiful specimens here. Look at these. Absolutely beautiful Lactaria, and I can see them back in there ways, but I don't see anything else. But every now and again you'll walk into a little opening like this, maybe the chanterelles are up and just popping, and it can be a heck of a find. Right now, just fields of Lactaria. All right, I'm gonna head back to the main trail. Things that make me go, So we did finally find the underwater portion of our trail. And, oh yeah, there you go. Good job, bud. That feels good. Looking at the shoreline, I think the socks are gonna have to come off. So I'm gonna turn the camera off, focus on getting through this, and bring you back on the other side. We got through. Whenever you go around water though, you gotta be really, really careful. He's eyeballing us right in there. We're gonna leave him be. Always keep your eyes open for those. I'm not sure what kind of snake that is. Snake identification is not my thing. But I tell you what, there are snakes out here that'll ruin your week. So keep your eyes peeled if you're going to be, even if you're not around water, because I've seen water moccasins a long way from water. And you just got to keep your eye open. That's kind of that geocache. I saw that because the color of the little box that it was in was wrong. It didn't match the trees and stuff around it. Dozer, come here. He saw something on the trail ahead, and now he wants to go up there. Doze, come here. Stay by me. Leave it alone, whatever it is. And so I noticed the difference in coloration. And you really want to do that, like here, you got green grass. And so, you can see that the body of that snake, it really stands out. Sorry, I just had to adjust something on my pack. It really stands out from the other grass. And, take your time out here. You're out here to enjoy it. And just look for those little differences. Look for a little movement where there shouldn't be any. Look for a color that doesn't match the surroundings. Look for a pattern, a long, black, slender, stick-looking thing. And just make sure it is a stick before you go cruising on by it. Now, if you got the doofus with you, like I do, he'll usually spook anything out of the road. But if you don't have that, you want to be even extra careful. And I find the snakes leave Dozer alone. He's ran by many that decided they didn't like me and left him be. So just because he runs there doesn't mean it's clear to go. So just keep your eyes peeled and you'll be fine. Well, I don't know if we're going to get through this marshland. Oh, yeah. A couple of sandhills out there expressing their dissatisfaction with our appearance. This is looking pretty wet. Come here, bud. What do you think, bud? You think it's going to be too wet? I'd have to go back and take the shortcut. Yeah, we're going back to the shortcut. Come on, bud. We're going back to the shortcut. All right, so there's a little piece. We're kind of at the end of this trail, at the last stretch of it, and there's a little piece that goes through marshland, and that appears to be uncrossable. I mean, I could if I took my shoes off. It's just grassland, but you know, with the idea of snakes around and who knows what else is out in that field, we will just stick to the trail itself. Those sandhills are still giving us a piece of their mind. Plus it's nice and shady in here. Alright, blue shortcut. Taking the shortcut, bud. I imagine in another 2 months that'll be dry enough to cross, or another month maybe. Looks like it's drying up pretty good. But now it's just a little bit too wet for us. Well, that was fun. That was a nice adventure. I'm glad I made it back here today. Like I said, I keep making it to the trail, you know, to the entrance to the trail. Then I decide, I don't want to cross the water. Maybe I'm already 4 miles in. I decided I don't want to do the extra 3. Just plain run out of time. It's about 10:45 here this morning. I've still got probably another mile, maybe mile and a half, depending on the shortcut I take. Let's just call it a mile coming out of here. So when I'm all done, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, I'll probably have close to 4.5 miles in today. Not a huge walk, but when you're mushroom hunting and foraging and exploring new areas, you know, it's not a fast pace. So it was a pretty preserve. One of the things I took away from this is I'll definitely come back here during the summer months when it's raining. There was a lot of higher ground with a lot of leaf litter, pine litter. There's just a lot of interesting areas that I think would produce some mushrooms during the summer months. I think we'd definitely find some boletes back in here, and not sure what else. But I think it's worth coming back here in the summer and crossing that water once again. So definitely worthwhile. We saw sandhills, a few different birds. Of course, there were cows. Saw a lot of deer today. Got real close up to a lot of deer. Dozer was real well behaved. He left them be, and so we didn't have any issues. And we didn't get too close to the cow, so no issues there. Did see, you know, some of the greens that I saw that I didn't put on camera. I definitely saw a lot of the pennywort. I think I put a little bit of that on camera. A lot of the Gutacola, which I did put on camera. But I also found the Bocapas, 2 species of Bocapa, including the lemon. Now, the lemon, there wasn't a lot of it. And there was one area I probably could have harvested on, but again, today that wasn't the goal. So I did not bring anything out. The only thing I did take was those mushrooms. And again, I'll do some further ID on those and just confirm what they are. But I mean, I saw tons of those. If a person wanted to take those, if they are what I think they are, which are inedible, and if a person was so inclined to try them, would have found plenty today. A few random, other guild mushrooms, but boy, not much today. There just wasn't much out here. I kind of expected with a little bit of rain we had the last 2 days to maybe find some more, but that's how mushroom hunting goes. But an amazing day out here in the trail, and I really enjoyed it. By the time I got about a half-hour drive once I got out of here, so I've probably got another, hour and 15 minutes before I get back to the house and get on with my on my day, the more scheduled stuff. So unless I find something really revealing, I'm going to call this the end, and I appreciate you guys coming out here with us today and exploring this new preserve. I think we'll definitely be back here again during some different weather, and we'll see what else we can find. So if I find anything on the way out that's worth showing, I'll bring you back. Otherwise, it was great having you along, and the next time Dozer and I see you, hopefully we're out doing something wild.